Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3544. Today's date is August 18, 2025. It's been almost like a night at 10:14 p.m. Okay, let's just jump into the question. Okay, let's go. Question is, when I think about investing in myself or my business, I feel. Okay, what exactly is this question? It's not actually a question, it's a kind of like a simply a statement. Okay, yeah. What is exactly the statement? A statement says that ki, what do you think regarding about investing? Okay, yeah. What is exactly your opinion regarding about investing? Would you kind of like a something that ki invest on yourself, or you are kind of like a something that invest in kind of like a business, or what exactly like your point of perspective वगैरह? What exactly is this thing? First of all, let me understand the question first. When I think about investing in myself or my business, I feel like it's kind of like simply asking your opinion regarding about investing. Okay, what do you feel when you kind of like when you invest about yourself or your business? What do you feel about that? Okay, yeah. Okay, so what is actually investment? Okay, what is actually invest? Okay, let's just understand this point little bit better so that we move to, yeah. So investment means like that ki, you are kind of like a simply spending or buying such a thing that will gonna give you benefit in the future. That is called investment. Okay. Do you understand things? Okay, let's just understand a little better. Okay, the stuff that you buy, okay, that stuff could be anything. Okay, it might be money, it might be land, it might be something asset or a jewelry or gold or commodity. I don't know what exactly is this thing. I call them a stuff. Okay, you are buying that particular stuff that will give you benefit in the future. Okay, that will give you benefit in the future. That is called investment. Okay, by the way, you heard this investment word multiple times in your surrounding and things like that, and mostly investment are mostly associated with the kind of like a something the money, right? Like invest in the mutual fund, SIP, share markets. Yeah, these are kind of like a simply common terminology that people usually understand the meaning of investment. Okay, but there is so much meaning of that, like people don't really understand what is exactly the investment. Okay, so I'm gonna try to tell you what I know about investment and what exactly is this thing. Okay, so if I'm trying to define what is actually investment, is that the investment means like that ki stuff that you buy or stuff that you hold or the stuff that you accumulated or stuff that you get. Okay, it will gonna give you benefit in the future. That is called investment. Like somewhat something, not a kind of like a simply proper way to define. I didn't really like, I'm not kind of like a simply proper book or things like that, but still. Okay, so um in usual point of perspective, it's a very simple. Okay, but when you think it very critically, you are kind of like a, this is very complex topic. Okay, it's 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 perspective that ki how much you are looking to that thing. Okay, okay, so what is exactly perspective? I know what exactly is this thing. Okay, so I am gonna kind of like simply tell you as simple as possible from everyone understand. Okay, let's just say that I kind of like simply started doing SIP. SIP means systematic investment plan. Okay, this is a kind of like a something the plan which is kind of like a something is this thing that ki you are kind of like a something spending some certain amount of money every single month. Okay, let's just say 1000, 2000, 5000 rupees. Okay, yeah. So let's just say you are investing 5000 rupees in SIP. SIP means systematic investment plan. So what is exactly is this thing? How is this thing is actually happen? Okay, yeah. So basically you are kind of like a somebody invest your money on kind of like a somebody a organization who handle that particular SIP. Okay, yeah. So like basically right now I have kind of like a somebody SIP. Let me tell you what is actually my name of my SIP. Wait, um where is loan, where is saving, okay, mutual fund. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is kind of like a simply my, okay, yeah. So I invested kind of like a simply, I kind of like a started SIP on SBI Contra Fund Growth. Okay, this is kind of like a simply the organization or kind of like a simply particular group of people. What exactly they will gonna do? Okay, I invest my money, like I invest 1000 rupees on this kind of like a simply this organization. Okay, yeah. What does they do? How this will gonna kind of like a simply give me a particular returns? Because let me tell you one thing, my goal is that key, if I invest 1000 rupees per month for at least 5 year. So if I'm gonna calculate, let me just calculate first. Okay, yeah. Where is a calculator? Okay, yeah. So if I'm investing 1000 rupees, that means within a year I might have 12,000 rupees. Okay, yeah. And if I'm investing five year, like basically 12,000 into 5, so that means I will gonna get 60,000. Okay, yeah. But 60,000 I will not gonna get. Look, I will gonna get even more than that. Means I will get at least like a 80,000 or maybe 1 lakh. Okay, yeah. But how that extra money I will get? Like basically I invested 60,000 rupees. Okay, yeah. And I get 1 lakh something. Okay, yeah. Let's just say 1 lakh rupees. Yeah. But how that extra money, where did it came from? It came from systematic investment planning. So what exactly is this thing? Also, let me tell you one thing. The information that I'm trying to tell you, this is financial information. Also, financial information is a kind of like a something that key you have to be like a, when you try to listening any kind of like a financial information or advice, you wanted to make sure that the person who is kind of like a telling that financial advice is right or not, or credible or not. Okay, yeah. I am not credible person. I didn't really have any information. I didn't really have any prior information regarding about financial thing. Nothing really at all. Okay, yeah. So I also am not gonna give you any kind of like a financial advice. I'm just kind of like a giving you the information that I know at the moment. Okay, yeah. And I'm not really sure the information that I'm trying to tell you is exactly right or wrong. Okay, yeah. It is what I know about this particular stuff. Alright, yeah. And always make sure that ki financial advice you always gonna get from such a person who is kind of like a somebody have prior experience regarding about this particular field. Then and only then you have to be cross check every point of perspective, and then you proceed. Because if there is a something problem like a financial advice means like that there is a money involved, and I'm talking about your hard-earned money. Okay, yeah, you put a lot of effort for earning that amount of money. So where should you supposed to be invest that amount of money? It's completely up to your choice. Okay, so make sure that that choices will gonna influence by some sort of financial advisor. So make sure that financial advisor is credible enough. Okay, and I am not that, and I also am not trying to give you any financial advice, nothing at all right, yeah. So back to the topic. Okay, so I invested like a 60,000 rupees, but where that extra money, where it came from? Okay, yeah, that extra money came from the SIP, as I mentioned, systematic investment plan. So what is actually this thing is actually happened? How is this thing? So basically is this thing, I kind of like a simply gave money to people who are really expert in mutual fund. Okay, let me tell you one thing. The money that I'm earning, the extra money that I'm earning, I am not earning that much extra money from that SIP. No, like basically that SIP is also kind of like a something a foundation, a kind of like a something a group of people. Okay, yeah, they are really expert in where they should supposed to be invest. So what does they do is that key, like me, like I don't really have any information regarding about the mutual funds and stock market or things like something like nothing really at all. So what exactly is this thing that key, I am giving money to the such a person who are really expert in this particular field. Okay, so they are actually collecting money from me, like me, the person who are not really expert, they are actually giving the money to that particular person who are really expert. Okay, yeah. So if I'm giving 1,000 rupees, let's just say that ki there are almost like a 10 people, okay, who are actually kind of like investing 1,000 rupees. So let's just say 10,000. Okay, yeah. So every month that particular person get 10,000 rupees from 10 of us. Now what does that particular person that do? That particular person kind of like a somebody categorize the money, and they will gonna invest money on such a thing where they will gonna gain profit, they will gonna gain loss and things like that. Okay, yeah. And whatever the profit and loss gonna happen, it will kind of like a somebody, they also give their commissions, and also we also get our money back too. Okay, so this is what it is like basically SIP is a kind of like a somebody, the group of organization who are kind of like a something invest your money on stock market, so that they will gonna earn money, and they will gonna get some sort of commission, and you will also get money too. Okay, yeah. So basically it's a win-win situation. You also earning money, you are the person who are kind of like a something, the person like SIP, the person who handle that particular thing. Okay, yeah. That also get his commission, and as also the stock market. Okay, yeah. So basically this is what kind of like a something SIP is a kind of like a something very safe way to grow the money. Okay, yeah. Because let me tell you one thing, the SIP doesn't really take any kind of like a something that key loss. No, like the people who are kind of like handling those SIP, they are kind of like thinking about long term point of perspective. They expert their money, they spend their money or invest their money on such a thing that they will gonna get really higher values. Like basically they will gonna invest on Tesla or iPhone or Google, or like these are kind of like company who are kind of like growing every year. Okay, yeah. But they are not growing kind of like rapidly. No, they are going step by step, just little by little. Okay, yeah. So this is what they are kind of like investing our money. So it's just like that. I'm gonna ask the question. Okay, yeah. That key, like they are kind of like doing the same thing, na? Like they are kind of like investing money on Google or Tesla or iPhone or Apple or things like that. Then why not I do the same thing? Like basically, why would I supposed to be kind of like go to the SIP and things like that? Like let's just kind of like I will gonna go to the stock market and I will gonna buy some sort of stock from Tesla or Google or Apple. Why not I do that? Or yeah, why not? It's not kind of like something as easy as you think it is. As I mentioned, yes, within a kind of like a 5 year, those company will definitely will gonna grow. Okay, yeah, but there is so many ups and downs. Okay, yeah, like you don't know the internal politics in the company. Okay, yeah, like there is chairman change, there is a CEO change, their policy change, and because of their policy change, something that happened, there is a kind of like a drop happened. Okay, or up happened. There is a, it's not just kind of like investing money. Okay, yeah, it's kind of like somebody investing a value or investing kind of like somebody the information that you have, and obviously you don't really have it. Okay, yeah, investing money on kind of like somebody such a thing that you might think that will gonna grow, it will not gonna happen like that. No, that's why we have SIP is kind of like somebody playing safe. Okay, they are not kind of like doing it just aggressively and invest so much amount of money. No, they are kind of like invest so many ways. They actually invest so many bonds and things. They invest commodity, they actually invest in companies and things. Also they're gonna get losses too, but they're gonna get profit too. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, all those cluttered actually happen, they gonna face that thing. We don't really face that thing. As a kind of like somebody, I am not really expert in this thing, I'm just giving the 1,000 rupees every single month, that's it. Okay, yeah. So this is called kind of like somebody SIP. Okay, yeah. And kind of like somebody within a 5 year, I will gonna get my returns. I invested 60,000 rupees, I get 1 lakh rupees. All right. So that is called kind of like a some investment. As I mentioned, the definition of the investment is that key it will gonna benefit you in the future. Okay, that means like you are investing today, that means after the 5 year you will gonna get 1 lakh rupees, which will kind of like add benefit in my life, right? Okay, yeah. So do you understand what is actually meaning of understanding the investment? Okay, yeah. Now investment has a very different type. Okay, yeah. Money, as I mentioned. Now let's talk about the invest on yourself. Okay, yeah. Means like that ki you are investing on yourself. So how do I supposed to be invest on myself? It means that ki you are growing yourself. Means like that ki like let's just say that ki you are kind of like doing a job. Okay, yeah. And basically this thing you are not speaking really good English. Okay, yeah. Like by the way, you done your graduation, you complete your things, everything is really good, but the when you are trying to communicate with your senior, you don't really talk that well. Okay, yeah, your communication is very lack. So what could you do is that ki you are kind of like a simply went to the coaching center and try to learn some sort of English. Okay, yeah. And that means that ki you are kind of like a simply invest on yourself, invest on your skills to improve. And when you improve that skills, it will gonna add value in your life, because when you talk to the senior you will gonna be more confident, and when you get more confident, indirectly you will gonna get uh, kind of like a promotion and things like that. All right, so that is called investing on yourself. But this is the only one part. There is also another thing too. Okay, yeah. That key, let's just imagine that you are doing a job and you have a business idea and you wanted to execute that business idea. Okay, yeah. So what you do is that ki right now you left the job and you don't really have money. So what you do, you took the loan. Okay, yeah. You took the loan and you are actually kind of like a whatever the loan that you took, you are kind of like a invest that loan into the business point of perspective, and you are actually grow your business. So this is kind of like a something you, that means you take the loan, means you actually take the loan for as a kind of like a simply invest on yourself, that your company will gonna grow. So that is called also called as a investment on yourself. Okay, get it? Okay. Right now I'm just kind of like basically just I wanted to explain such a thing, but when I kind of like somebody record the artifact during the night, I just kind of like somebody is this thing that ki I don't know why, but I realized that ki like as soon as I wake up in the morning, I kind of like simply record my artifact episode like very like passionately and things like that. But after I ate my dinner and when I try to talk, it just like it feels like burden. It feels like that ki I'm not really enjoying that much. Okay, yeah. Like early morning, I was like a really like a focus and things and that and that. Okay. All right. So this is kind of like I talk about the money, like investment SIP. I talk about the investment on yourself. Okay, yeah. Now understand the third concept is that assets and liability. Okay, yeah. What are those? Assets means like that the stuff that you will gonna earn money in the future. Liability means the stuff that costing money. Okay, let's just say that ki you bought the car. Okay, yeah. So when you bought the car is not the kind of like a it's not it's a liability. Okay, yeah. Means like that when you bought the car, you will gonna kind of like a paid some sort of amount of money for fuel, for maintenance, for servicing and things like that. So basically that car is not actually offering any kind of like a simply money, but instead of that it kind of like a simply asking money for existence, like a fuel and maintenance and things like that. That is called liability. Okay, yeah. But also understand this thing, if you are using your car for kind of like a earn you money, let's just say that ki you gonna kind of like a simply utilizing this car for Ola or Uber. Okay, you wanted to become Ola Uber driver. So in that particular situation, that car is became asset because you are earning money from that car. So in that particular situation, that car became asset. All right, yeah. So understand what is actually asset and what is actually liability. Okay, yeah. As a normal person, buying a car is kind of like a something liability, but for Uber driver, buying a car is an asset. Same car, same person, but what kind of like a something that particular thing used for is matter. All right. Same thing with the land. You buy the piece of land. Okay, yeah, that land will kind of like a simply when you kind of like a sell this land after 5 year, you will gonna get so much amount of value. Okay, yeah. So that is called assets. Okay, yeah. Liability means like that ki your mobile phone. Okay, yeah. Obviously you are using your mobile phone. If you are kind of like a have Android mobile phone which cost you 20,000 rupees, which is asset. Okay, yeah, because 20,000 rupees, if you are spending 20,000 rupees on mobile phone, which is kind of like a some asset, it considered to be an asset. Okay, yeah. But if you are kind of like a buying 1 lakh or 2 lakh rupees of phone for kind of like a somebody playing video game and kind of like somebody watching couple of videos and things like that, then probably that mobile phone is liability. Okay, yeah. Understand that ki the cost of like you have to gain some sort of amount of value. Like basically is this thing na ki the asset is only became when you are kind of like a something spending less than you earn more. Like, okay, what exactly is this thing? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna give you kind of like a proper definition so that you would understand a little bit better. Okay, yeah. Let's just say you bought the car. Okay, yeah. Car is a really good example. You bought the car which is 10 lakh rupees. Okay, yeah. Now, what you do is that ki if you are using your car for Ola and Uber and things like that, and you will gonna earn money. Okay, yeah. That car, when will that car become asset? Is that ki the from Ola and Uber services, when you are earning like basically when you start, like let's just say that ki like last month I started doing kind of like a simply Ola Uber drive. Okay, yeah. So basically the last month I started. Okay, yeah. So basically from last month to let's just say 2 year, like I drive 2 year Ola Uber car. Okay, yeah. And within a 2 year I earn almost like a 13 lakh rupees. Okay, yeah, 13 lakh rupees. So basically is this thing, you bought this car in 10 lakh rupees and within a 2 year that car will become an asset. Okay, yeah. That car will not gonna become an asset if you earn 9 lakh rupees. No, that car will become asset when you are earn more than 10 lakh rupees. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, when you earn more amount of money from such a thing that you kind of like a somebody like you understand what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, yeah. I'm not really try to tell, I'm not really sure about this information, but this is what I know. Okay, yeah. That kind of like a somebody the some certain stuff will kind of like a give you money which is more than its cost, then that thing will become asset. Till then that thing will become liability. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing that ki if you are driving Ola Uber car, okay, so that car will not gonna become asset till you earn 10 lakh rupees. After you earn 10 lakh rupees, that car will become an asset. Right? Yeah. Same thing happened with the phone. Okay, yeah. Let's just say that ki you are a kind of like a something YouTuber or kind of like a something a gamer. Okay, yeah. You actually play your gameplay, you record your gameplay on your mobile phone, you play games on your phone. Okay, yeah. So you bought this mobile phone which is very expensive. Let's just say you bought this phone in almost like a 1.5 lakh rupees. This is the Apple mobile phone. Okay, yeah. So what exactly is this thing? That mobile phone till it became liability when you earn 1.5 lakh rupees. Okay, yeah. If you earn more than 1.5 lakh rupees, that mobile phone will become asset. but till then this mobile phone will gonna become always be a liability. But most of people, mobile phone is actually used for kind of like a something very normal thing, using WhatsApp and things and something like that. So for that thing, use such a phone which is kind of like a less expensive, like a 20,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees or things like that. Okay, yeah, this would be kind of like a somewhat something in control way. Okay, yeah, I'm not saying that you shouldn't supposed to be invest on liability. No, like we are human, we need things, we are social animal, we are using mobile phones and things like that. I'm saying try to control that thing. Okay, yeah, like basically if you wanted to buy 1.5 lakh rupees of iPhone, don't buy that iPhone, buy 50,000 rupees of iPhone, which would kind of like give you the same vibe. Okay, yeah. So this is what it is. Okay, until you, unless you are kind of like somebody a filmmaker or kind of like a things that you're gonna utilize your camera for taking photos or videos or things like that, then obviously you have to buy this 1.5 lakh rupees mobile phone, which will kind of like eventually you will gonna kind of like grow and you will gonna earn more amount of money, and that mobile phone will become asset, right? Yeah. So let me tell you one thing. In this particular situation, you are not investing money, you are investing on such a thing that will kind of like add value in your life. That is called asset. Okay, yeah. Your car, your mobile phone, or whatever thing it is, that is called kind of like something asset, till after you earn more than its costs, more than its cost. If you earn less, then probably that thing is always be a liability. Okay, yeah. But there are some certain things are always liability. Your clothes, liability. Okay, yeah. They will not gonna become asset. Even if you buy kind of like something very expensive cloth or kind of like a things, your clothes is always a liability. Okay, like till you buy this, like till this cloth manufacture, that cloth always have kind of like some depreciating value. That's it. So your cloth is always have kind of like something liability. Okay, yeah. um there are so many things. Okay, yeah. So regarding about the investment, if you are investing your money on kind of like something buying asset, it will gonna add value in your life. Okay, yeah. There are multiple assets. Like let's just say Bugatti Veyron. Bugatti Veyron is a sports car. Okay, yeah. And yes, Bugatti Veyron is not an liability; it's an asset. What do you mean by that? Bugatti Veyron is an asset? Yeah, it's an asset. Okay, yeah. Every sports car is asset, is not liability. Huh. Until you buy kind of like such a sports car which is kind of like a something, I don't know, but every sports car are actually a liability. Sorry, every sports car is asset, it's not liability. Every sports car, like let's just say Lamborghini or Koenigsegg or Pagani or Bugatti Veyron, whatever it is always an asset. Because let's just say that the company makes sure that the product that they are making in limited number. Okay, yeah. Like basically the Bugatti Veyron that you might gonna see in some sort of picture or whatever it is in limited number. Means like that the Bugatti company or Bugatti Veyron company who actually makes that particular unit in number, like let's just say 100 in number or 200 in number. Means like that the exist of the Bugatti Veyron is almost like maybe 200 in the entire world. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, when there is only 200 piece of unit are exist of Bugatti Veyron, so automatically the value of Bugatti Veyron is always gonna increase with respect to time. Okay, yeah. So buying an Bugatti Veyron or buying any kind of like a sports car is an asset, is not a liability. Like basically most of people actually confuse that dude, the cost of the fuel for sports car is like a really expensive and things like that. Dude, then sports car is not meant to be drive. Okay, the rich people buy sports car not for drive, they actually buy this sports car for asset. They will not gonna drive this car, they always gonna put that car in a garage and they will gonna show them that they have this car in some certain event, and that's it. Okay. More rich people buy sports car, just it's an asset. They are not meant to be drive. They are not meant to be kind of like a something car that we should supposed to be drive fast. No, nothing really at all. Okay, so sports car is an asset. Okay, yeah. Gold asset, then all the materials like basically the platinum and things, these are assets. Land asset. Your house is also became asset too. Okay, yeah. Like basically you bought the house. Okay, yeah, and you are kind of like simply rented, then that house became also asset too. Okay, yeah. So this is all those things. So invest your money on buying asset, which is kind of like a simply add benefit in your future. So it is also called as a kind of like a simply very good investment. Okay, yeah. Now let's just kind of like a talk about invest in time. What do you mean by that? Invest in time? Like let's just imagine. Okay, one of the most valuable thing on this universe is time. Okay, yeah, time. When it gone, it will not gonna come back. Okay, so make sure that invest yourself or invest your money in time. But how does I supposed to be do that? How does I supposed to be kind of like a invest myself in a time? Okay. In your rest entire day, you might gonna be so much busy, or you might gonna be not that much busy. Okay, yeah. But you gonna have some certain amount of time. Okay, yeah. And you actually kind of like spend that amount of time on time pass. Okay, or kind of like simply doing non good thing. Okay, yeah. Instead of that, utilize that time for kind of like a simply make sure to watch something good. Or let's just say, like if you're scrolling reels, then it's a time pass. So make sure that you do not watch that kind of like a reels. Make sure you watch kind of like a simply horizontal video, so that you could watch kind of like a simply documentaries, or any kind of like a something the educational form of video, which will kind of like add somewhere in your life. It will gonna add a value in your life. Okay, yeah. So basically this is also called as a kind of like invest your time. Means like that ki you actually kind of like a try to neglect such a thing which is kind of like considered to be a time pass, and you are actually invest your time for kind of like a learn something good. That is called invest in time, because when you do that, it will gonna add some certain value in your life. You don't know that, but yeah, it will gonna add up in the future. So make sure that, so whatever the time that you think that you are kind of like consider that key it's a time pass or kind of like a free of time and things like that, utilize that time to grow yourself. Okay, yeah. So when you do that, you are kind of like invest your time in yourself for let you grow on something like that, which is kind of like simply called as invest in time, which will gonna add a value in your life in the future. All right, yeah. So this is kind of like a simply investment that I know at the moment. Okay, yeah. There is also kind of like a simply so many things. Okay, yeah. Like if you are kind of like consider that ki like there is so many ways of investment. Okay, yeah. If you're gonna deep, you're gonna realize more and more regarding about every possible scenario and things like that, because it's like a investment is a kind of like a simply very common terminology that everyone understand what is actually investment and things like that, but it's a very complex terminology too. It's a kind of like a depends on people. Okay, that some people are kind of like a thing, some people are that. Okay, yeah. So okay, let me kind of like give you a little bit example so that you would understand a little bit better. Okay, yeah. I am kind of like watching the documentary of Elon Musk. He's the richest man on the planet, and basically is this thing I will try to tell you regarding about what kind of like he invest. Okay, yeah, that's why he became kind of like one of the richest person on the planet. Okay, yeah. So I'm not really sure, but at the age of 30 or 35, okay, yeah, he has almost like a 180 million on his pocket, on his bank account. Okay, yeah. Now where that 180 million came from? It came from PayPal. PayPal is a company which is kind of like only online transaction, and Elon Musk is actually sold that company to the eBay. Okay, yeah. And he get almost like a 180 million dollar. Okay, yeah. Now imagine scenario, Elon Musk is almost like at the age of 30, 35. I'm not really sure that age. Okay, yeah. He has 180 million dollar after the taxes. After the taxes, he has 180 million dollar in his bank account. Okay, yeah. He is almost like a maybe a millionaire. Okay, yeah. He is already a richest person in America or things like that. Okay, yeah. Now basically he did something very different. He invest that money on such a thing which is kind of like a very different. He invest money on electric car, we call it as a Tesla. He invest money on such a thing that rocket can use again and again. SpaceX. He invest on thing called like basically is this thing, what exactly is this thing, um, Tesla network, like basically space satellite, or what is actually this the company called, I don't know, like a Neura, no, not, it's a basically it's a space satellite kind of like a thing. It's like a basically that the internet that we are kind of like a consume is actually because of the tower, which is actually kind of like a very limited in number. So basically the kind of like some signals are actually traveling from my mobile phone to the tower, which is kind of like something close by. But when you went to the forest or any kind of like some area where service, you don't really get that thing. But what if that tower is actually at the orbit? If that tower is in the orbit, then the range would be really extraordinary, and you will gonna gain internet every corner of the planet. Even if you are Antarctica or even if you are a forest, you will gonna get the network. Okay, yeah. So basically I'm not really sure what is actually that's a space satellite or like a Neura satellite. Wait, let me clarify first. Elon Musk, um, companies. Okay, yeah. So basically where it is. Okay, yeah. So Tesla, SpaceX, X means like that the Twitter. Okay, yeah. And then co-founder of venture capital of Boeing company. Okay, yeah. Tesla, SpaceX, XAI, Neuralink. Okay, Neuralink is also really good. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you here. Okay, yeah. So he actually invested. Like let's just take two companies. Okay, Tesla and SpaceX. Okay, yeah. Neuralink, and these are kind of like a company who actually kind of like a created after, like basically at the beginning means like that when he has 180 million dollar in his bank account, he actually invest his money on Tesla and invest on money on SpaceX. Okay, yeah. So he just not just invested money. Okay, yeah. And probably is this thing at that time. Okay, yeah. Try to understand. Okay, yeah. If I'm gonna invest my money on buying SIP, so I will gonna invest my money on such a SIP will gonna perform much better right now in the future too, so that I will gonna gain value, right? I will gonna gain kind of like a simply profit in the future, right? But Elon Musk did exactly opposite. Okay, yeah. Like when he launched Tesla, at that time, electric vehicle was not even exist. And basically, the people who are really expert in automobile sector, they are laugh at him. They kind of like say that ki electric vehicles are not really good. Nothing really at all. Same thing happened with the SpaceX. SpaceX is a kind of like something even more frustrating, even more crazy, because every rocket is actually exist before is kind of like a meant to be used once and then it gonna destroy. Okay, yeah. And now SpaceX is actually working on such a rocket that it will gonna use again and again. So probably they have to go through so many ways and hurdles and things like that. But the investment in SpaceX is, or investment in electric vehicles is kind of like a something very dumb decision. Okay, yeah. It's a kind of like a something that you are kind of like a something investing in such a thing that definitely will not gonna give you any kind of like a something money or things like that. Okay, like basically I could think like if I'm kind of like a somebody on his position, why would I supposed to be invest $180 million on such a thing where it will not gonna gain any kind of like a value or things like that. So basically what Elon Musk invested, what kind of like Elon Musk did, what exactly is this thing, what is exactly his thought process? So let me tell you one thing. Okay, yeah, he took his decision not kind of like a somebody regarding about the current situation over there. He thinks from future point of perspective. He thinks that what will gonna happen in the future. Okay, yeah. And then he invested things. He didn't really consider what is actually current situation. No, he realized that what will gonna happen in the future. What do you mean by that? Okay, yeah. At that time when he was invested that much amount of money, it's a kind of like a something is this thing. At that time the oil is easily available. Okay, yeah, but he knows that oil is a non-renewable energy sources, which means that at some certain point we will not gonna have petrol or we will not gonna have diesel to drive this car. So what kind of like a fuel that people will gonna use in the future to drive the car? Obviously electric, because nuclear we can't use that. Okay, yeah, we can't put the electric nuclear thing in. No, we just have to use the electric car. Okay, yeah. So Elon Musk thinks that the people will gonna use in the future is a electric car. So we have to be capture that market early as possible. Even if we are facing the loss, that is okay, but we have to do it. We have to do it. So they did it. They kind of like invest money on Tesla, an electric car, and they made history. Same thing happened with the SpaceX. They know that SpaceX is a kind of like somebody very, this journey is really not that good. Okay, yeah, they face so many failure in every possible ways. Okay, obviously they didn't really kind of like succeed at first attempt, definitely not, but they kind of like somebody understand what exactly they could do to make it better. So, and they did it too. They kind of like create a kind of like simply a rocket that can use again and again, which will kind of like the cost of sending some certain thing in space is very less. So that's why space travel is became little bit kind of like simply affordable. Somewhat, it's not really affordable at the moment for normal people, but somewhat affordable for kind of like a space mission, right? Yeah. So what is exactly is this thing? Okay, so how does Elon Musk did that? Okay, yeah. So Elon Musk is not just invested in just money. He invested his time. He invested his kind of like something the all the kind of like a crazy thing that make sure that company should supposed to be grow. Okay, yeah. He also invest on himself and also invest on his business, that kind of like somebody make that business as good as possible. He just not just rely on kind of like a CEO and kind of like they will gonna handle the company and I just have to kind of like lay down. No, he will go every day to the factory, kind of like figure it out what's wrong, how do I supposed to make sure that production should supposed to be faster and things like that. Like basically he invested his time on kind of like something make the process bit faster. He not just kind of like somebody sit by and relax and kind of like somebody rely on that future we're gonna get better and things like that. No, like basically let me tell you one thing. If I'm kind of like consider a random person, okay, yeah, like there is a XYZ person who has a $180 million in his bank account, and he decided that he wanted to invest his money on kind of like something electric car company and kind of like something reusable rocket. Okay, yeah. So he invested that amount of money and then he just kind of like relaxed and chilled out. Okay, yeah. he kind of like a somebody consider as a kind of like a somebody owner of the company. The CEO of that company will gonna like, I'm gonna hire a kind of like a particular CEO will gonna handle this company and that company, and I'm just kind of like a relax and I chilled my life. If Elon Musk did that thing, then we will not gonna know the Elon Musk that we know right now. Okay, yeah. So what exactly is this? He is not just invest money, he invested his time, his effort, his expertise, his knowledge on every possible way, so that we will gonna make that company one of the fastest growing company in the world. And he did it. And he did it. And it was really good, because let just that company, like basically is this thing that electric manufacturing car company and reusable rocket is actually solve so many problem right now. Let's talk about the SpaceX reusable rocket. The cost of sending some certain thing like a 1 kilo of package or 1 kilo of payload in space, which cost almost like a, imagine, let's just say $10 million. Okay, like sorry, yeah, let's just say $100 million. Okay, yeah. I don't know the exact number, but let's just consider $100 million. Okay, yeah. Now basically is this thing, $100 million was too much. Let's just say imagine that key $20 million. Okay, yeah. Like basically if I have to send some certain thing on space, which will cost me $20 million per kilo. Okay, yeah. So if it is $20 million per kilo, then I might not gonna like, I will not gonna afford, like most of the company will not gonna afford that much amount of kind of like assembly payload that will kind of like send it to the outer space and things like that. Why? Because it's not really efficient, it's not really kind of like a things. But when the reusable rocket happened, means like that ki reusable rocket can use again and again, so that the cost of sending some certain thing on space is very less. So as a kind of like a somebody, a common person or common kind of like a company will kind of like a send some sort of kind of like a package on the space, so that they will kind of like a somebody improve their business and things like that. So like I will not gonna go deeper and things like that, but what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that key, like other companies and Elon Musk companies are very much different. Because let's just say Boeing, okay, Boeing is a kind of like a same company who makes the rocket, and SpaceX is also the same company who makes the rocket. But the Boeing make such a rocket which can use only once, and that's it. But the SpaceX is kind of like a something make such a rocket that can use again and again, which will kind of like a something add so much benefit to the society in so many levels, which is kind of like a something everything became so much affordable to send some sort of thing on space. Okay, yeah. So that's why Elon Musk SpaceX company is so much kind of like a something aspirational value. People are so much connected to it because it's a really good thing, right? Same thing happened with the electric car. Before the electric car, there is a Ford motor which is kind of like a dominating the entire automobile sector in America and in entire world too. But like basically Tesla is kind of like a something solve that fuel thing. They know that fuel will not gonna have that people will gonna afford in the future. It's a non-renewable thing. So we have to be shift our automobile sector to somewhere else. Electric thing is a kind of like a thing that so basically Elon Musk understand what is actually the people are suffering from, and their company is actually solve that problem, solve that kind of like a suffering. And that's why most of the people are actually associate with the Elon Musk companies and way that it do and way that it kind of like it does, and it's really good. Okay, so that's why it adds so much inspiration value in myself. And I wanted to I don't know will I became like this one, like one, but I always have some sort of value about Elon Musk, the way that he does and way that his stuff. Okay, yeah. So this is what it is. Okay, so basically is this thing regarding about the investment. We are actually talking about the investment now. So Elon Musk kind of like invest in such a thing that he believed he could do that. Okay, yeah. Like basically if I kind of like invest on some certain stock market, I'm gonna make sure that stock market is really good enough that it will gonna give me profit or give me higher return in the future. But Elon Musk, from day one, he knows that he will not gonna kind of like simply earn so much amount of money until and unless he will gonna invest not only just the money but his expertise, his knowledge, and his everything to kind of like make the companies better. It's been almost like 50 minutes I'm just talking. I don't know, but yeah, I just whatever. So this is what is actually my opinion regarding about the investment. Okay, yeah, it's been pouring rain. I just have to end here. This is it. Thank you.